What's up, everybody? Give me 1 second. I just need to reset this real quick. Make sure I got this right. And that should work now. Okay, so I think I can get rid of this one. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me and the stream's going all right. What's up, Gina? What's up, Lynn? What's up, Linda? What's up, Misty? What's up, KJ? All right, awesome, sweet. What's up, Jenanigans? What's up, Sherry? What's up, Copper Horse? All right, everybody's tuning in. Sweet. Let me do a poll real quick. 1 second. You catch HLN Special. Okay, what's up, Alicia? What's up, Frank? What's up, Kim? What's up, Donna Bell? So I put in the poll, see if wondering how many of you caught this special that was just released. I was hoping it was 2 hours, but apparently it was just an hour. And then they're going to replay it again in, I believe, 45 minutes. Melissa says no sound. Do you guys got sound? I'm getting ones in the chat. It might be on your end, Melissa. Okay, good deal. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying in the poll here. So far we got 36 votes. Oh, most of you have not seen the special. Okay. So a lot of this stuff that I'm going to go over is going to be new to you. I want to be honest. I think, let's see, who caught it? Who was talking about it? Yeah, KJ. I take it you've seen it, because you said it was lackluster. I'd have to kind of agree. I was a little disappointed. There wasn't a lot of interview with Kegan Kline. It was literally, she said, so I've got a lot of notes. I took a bunch of notes for you guys, so to go over it. And so we'll go over the notes and everything. And there's a little bit of stuff that was in there that's interesting. So, but overall, it was a little lackluster. Alicia says, "Why watch you when I can watch you?" Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Alicia. I will go over if I can talk right, I will go over everything that they went through. So, but so let's see. We got 49 votes so far. 26% yes. Most of you, which is at 74%, say no. So yes. So one of the first things that they released is that they confirmed that there is 43 seconds of the video. Now I've always heard that there was like 2 minutes. But that's very interesting. So there's 43 minutes that have been confirmed that are on that video. And I've gone through in my previous videos about there's kind of like a transcript, because apparently they had brought in the family members and some other members to watch the clip, the 43-second clip, I'm assuming. And then those, like, what somebody afterwards had kind of like interviewed one of the people that was in that meeting that got to see the video. And then there's like a transcript of what they describe happened. And so I've kind of gone over that in my previous video. And I'll touch on it again because there's not a lot. Let's see. We got 59 votes in here. So before I get into that, so if you're newer to my channel, I'm Chris. I cover cold cases. I do Paranormal Tuesdays. I do a little bit of everything. And in every video, I try to do a new missing person poster. That's a way to kind of help out the community. And I do take requests. If you got a family member, somebody that has somebody missing and it needs some more exposure, I'd be more than happy to post that in one of my videos. I would just need, a picture and the information. So, before we get started into the show, this is Aaliyah Ransom. She's 11 years old. And she literally just went missing last night on February 11th. She was near her home in Trammell Road in Morrow. And this is in Clayton County, Georgia. So if any of you are in that area, I know it's not the best picture right now. If I get a better picture, I will do that. So there's kind of a little bit better. But she's 11 years old. Just went missing. So if any of you guys are in that area, please take a close look. So yeah. So back into the special. Let me get out of this real quick. Let's jump over this. So yes, so this video here is apparently 43 seconds long. I believe most of it consists of the phone being in the pocket, and so a lot of it's muffled. But I will go over that little part again. I'll go over the transcript, and don't take this. This is just speculation because this is unconfirmed, as this is an open investigation. But apparently, what's on the 43 seconds is he begins walking. So this is kind of really the beginning of the clip, of the 43-second clip, from my understanding from this transcript. But he's walking towards them, and let me pull up the timeline so you guys can, so I can see you guys as well, so I can see the chat. What's up, Melissa? So yeah, there's, like I said, there's some interesting stuff actually, because they did confirm so this video was time-stamped at 2:13 p.m. So this video starts exactly at 2:13. So that gives us a little bit better timeline. So they get dropped off at 1:38 and they start walking. So this is them right here at 1:38, and they start walking along the 501 trail. And so about 1:40, they approach the bridge, which is the Monon Bridge. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. So this is the girls right here. This is the path they took. So about approximately 1:40 is where they are right here. And they start walking down this bridge. And as you can see, there are different, what they call platforms. So there's platform 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So they continue along, and this is one photos we see here, and this is where they're just passing platform 2, and they keep continuing along, and approximately at 2:05 they get the Snapchat of Libby. So at 2:07, excuse me. So at 2:07 this is uploaded to Snapchat. Now Libby is standing on platform 4, and Abby, is approaching in between 2 and 3. 2 and 3. And it looks like it says 5 right there. Okay, yeah, so 2 and 3. So now, if the timestamp of the video starts at 2:13, that means, so 2:07, so that means 6 minutes. So from 6 minutes till when we see this video here. So it took them probably about 6 minutes to get from about here, turn around, and then this guy's approaching. So, and as you can see, you can't even see this guy back here. So he started hoofing it pretty fast. I would assume this would probably not be his first time crossing this bridge. That would be my guess. So this video starts at 2:13. And it's 43 seconds. And from the transcripts, apparently, he says, hey. Abby responds with, just like, And then he approaches closer. And so he's probably, almost right in front of them, and he pulls out a gun. Abby says, "Is that a gun?" He's got a gun. And then you hear the gun cock, and that's when he says, "Guys, down the hill." And so I think "guys" and "down the hill," I think it says "guy." I think what it is it's "guys," and then he cocks the gun, and then it's "down the hill." So that's why it's like cut up the audio. So it's like "guys," cocks the gun. They didn't want the gun cock sound in the clip, so they took that out, and then that's "down the hill." So anyway, let me just see what you guys are saying in here. So most of you did not catch it. About 26% caught the thing. So I'm going to go over everything that they talked about. So I'm just going to end the poll so it's not blocking. What's up, Lady M? How are you? What's up, Karen? Yeah, I'd left a link for you guys, and it's going to replay again at the hour, I believe. So 10 p.m. Eastern time, if you didn't catch it. It's about an hour long, or it is an hour long. So thank you, Aunt Denny, for mentioning that again. So let's go over. So they had, on the panel, they had Paul Holes. And if you caught my live earlier today, Paul Holes is a very interesting character. He was real important. Let me get to him. So this is Paul Holes. So he's a detective, or a retired detective. And he kind of was a detective during the Golden State Killer case. When Golden State Killer was still known as like East Area Monster, as we referred to him now. So he was on the panel with let's see, Mary Ellen, Joey Jackson. I didn't catch the other gal's last name, but Casey something. And so they talked about a lot of stuff. Let me go over my notes real quick. So one of the things they talked about was releasing. They really feel like the public should they should release some more information. Paul Holes and a couple other people on panel feel it's been long. It's been enough time that there could still be some more information put out without it harming the overall case. So let's see. What else did they confirm? They also talked about cell phone pings, and that obviously Libby's phone had pinged to that area. And they were also thinking that they were going to look into, or they probably have, looked into other phones that were pinged to that particular tower around that particular time, especially at 2:13. So if perhaps maybe the killer had brought a phone, left it in the car or something, that they could still maybe trace it back. So they did talk about that a little bit. The Keegan Klein interview was in December. So let's go. So this is Barb. Go back here. So this is Barbara here, Macdonald. She's the producer of HLN and Down the Hill podcast. And so she had done an interview with Kegan Klein. Apparently it's 25 minutes. Sadly, on the special they just played, they showed like probably 2 minutes of it, with him answering about maybe 6 to 10 questions, give or take. There was a couple of interesting things. So they said that they did take a piece of his hair for a hair sample, which is very interesting because they think there could be a possibility, since Paul Holes is, quite knowledgeable about that. That's kind of his area with DNA. He says there might be a reason why they took hair samples from him, that they have something, possibly a hair sample from the possible killer that they can compare it to. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat before I get going in all this stuff. Make sure everything's good. Yeah, Lynn says, I forget how much audio. Yeah, 43 seconds, what they said. They did kind of hint at that there could be, what they said, like another video. It was kind of weird how they kind of mentioned it. So there's possible there could be more, because they kind of like said, well, there might be another video, but they kind of toyed around with that a little bit. So let's just see what you guys are saying here. Let me make sure my chat's popping up okay real quick here. Okay. All right. Sweet. So, Big E, I live 45 minutes from Delphi, and it was kind of a ho-hum because ISP has to 5-year anniversary Florida fires in Delphi, so they're under pressure. Oh wow, so 45 minutes from Delphi. Wow. Thanks for joining the stream, Big E. That's awesome. Yeah, I could have bet. Yeah, I bet. 5 years. So let's see, what else did I got? I've got a bunch of notes here, so I'm just trying to kind of go in order because I was just writing things down as I was. So apparently at the beginning they talked about there's a 10-page report that they have, which the public doesn't have, which is really talks about the 43-second video, the timestamp of the 213, and was there any? Well, I'm trying to think. There's something else. I'll find it though. Thank you guys so much. Let me see. I think I just got some subscribers. So Apep Jones, thank you for subscribing. Kelly, thank you. Aspen, thank you guys so much for tuning in. That's awesome. See, I got everybody. Call everybody out. Okay. Sorry, the stream's going off. You guys are amazing. Thank you. So then they talked about the two sketches, which is interesting because the sketches are just so confusing. What's up, Catherine? What's up, Rhonda? Thank you guys for tuning in. We're just kind of going over all the different information that was released in this HLN special. I kind of felt it was lackluster. I was really hoping more for the Keegan Klein interview, to be honest. I was really hoping. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of left after that special questioning the Anthony shots, because I know he's a liar, Keegan is, but she asked him, did you ever talk to the girls? He said no. I'm trying to think of the questions. It was going so fast, I didn't get to write down the questions, but they're the basic questions you would ask, but really, it didn't. I mean, he could have been lying, but he seemed like, he just felt like he had nothing. He wasn't a part of this at all. And I'm more inclined to believe him than not, to be honest. But I know he's probably a liar. But after watching that, I just kind of felt almost back to kind of square one, where I'm kind of in between. Is this more a random person that was just kind of scoping? I'm kind of in between now. I don't know. Let me know if you guys caught the special. Let me know what you guys think. I'm curious. Melissa says it's sad, but I feel like this is going to be a cold case for a long time, unless a big crack in the case comes. It's been 5 years. Yeah. So what's interesting about that, Melissa, is Paul Holes at the end. He said that they need to release some new information. They need to release more. And I'm glad he said that. And he said it, yes. He clearly said, yes, they can release more, reevaluate what they've got, and release a little bit more without, jeopardizing the overall investigation. So I would intend to agree. He says he knows who it is. Okay, you think? So you saying you talking about Keegan, Jason? Maybe. I said it was interview. I wish was longer so we could kind of gauge how he answers questions. So it's really hard to gauge if he's really just such a really good liar. KK is a piece of definitely not BG. Yep. Curious if his dad had been ruled out. Agreed, Aspen. I agree on everything. For sure. Yeah, for sure, buddy. Let's see what I got here. So they did talk about DNA, which I went over in my early live show because I knew if they showed Paul Holes, he's the one that helped catch Golden State Killer. He's behind the team and the DNA. So I knew they would talk about that, so we'll go over that for a minute. Linda Live, $20 donation. Thank you so much. That is amazing. Thank you so much, Linda Live. You are so awesome. Matter of fact, before, just so, because I just did the totals real quick, and we are at, well, now with the $60, but, so I take 35% and donate it to the Humane Society. So, yeah, so we were at, because I estimated it was $63, but I hadn't done like the exact math on it, but it was at $60, so I was like super close. So yeah, so we're at so we're probably about $65. So yeah, so I take 35% of super chats and super stickers, and then after a couple months, when it gets up to like 200-300, we'll donate it to the Humane Society of Utah, and then maybe next time I'll do it the National Humane Society. So that's awesome. Yes, Brady. So I'm glad you mentioned that, buddy. Thank you so much again, Linda. That's amazing. So Brady, yeah, the reward was at over 300. I think it was 325. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was 325 or 350. So 300. So over $300,000 for the reward to the arrest. So that's amazing. So hopefully, but. So, is it 325? Okay, yeah. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Let me get back over to... So, let's see. So, I did record the HLN Special. Towards the end of this, we'll talk for a bit. I'll go over everything. And then because I don't know if they're going to kick me on the live, but I would love to show just that little bit of the Keegan Klein interview. So I'm going to try to show it for you guys. I don't know if I'll get kicked on YouTube. So I'm going to save it towards the end of the show. So just in case if I do get kicked, then yeah. So yeah, Michelle. So yeah, YouTube takes, they say they take about 30 to 35%. Yeah, so then they take their 30%. So then I take 35% of what's left over, and that goes to the Humane Society. So, but yeah, it's a little bit by little. Very cool. Are you doing this if I get Patreon account? Yeah, I am going to set that up, Michelle. I have it set up, but not fully. I started the Patreon, but I need to get more into it. So for sure. Oh, someone just answered a question of mine. Another channel streamed the entire special live and didn't get kicked? Really? Interesting. Okay. Okay. Hopefully everything's good. Yeah, Karen. Yeah, YouTube is, it's tough. And I hate it because, be honest with you guys, I'm not big on donations because I'd rather just make videos for you guys and just get paid by Google ads, be honest with you. But it's tough because they got us creators in such a bind right now because they've got this thing where you could just upload a video, and if by chance you had like a trigger word in the video, then it would flag it. But as long as you didn't use the trigger words, for the most part, you were good. And yeah, I'm gonna play it, Jason. So we'll just a minute, buddy. So, but now every video I make has to be pre-checked. And so if it's a video where it's like information that needs to kind of come out, or it's going to be old news tomorrow, I need to put it out. Or, like I said, it's going to be old news, but it's not monetized because they have to check it. And so it's just killing a bunch of creators right now. It's just BS. So it's kind of forced me to go live more, and so I figure at least this way I can give back as much as I can to, like I said, I try to help out people with the missing and everything, so try to do as much as I can because I want to use this platform for good. So let's take a look at some of this. I'm curious. So I had to record this on my God, that's going to trip me out because it's the same screen. So let me...
Anything you do report is anonymous. HLN is the place.
So just to be careful, so what I'll do is I'm going to play the video and then we'll kind of commentate over certain stuff so that way I'm not stealing it from HLN, because I know sometimes that's the main reason why they take stuff off YouTube, is because people will just play it and then they monetize it, and then, you know, basically, because, you know, I don't want to be getting paid for somebody else's work. So what's up, Mad Mama? I love that name. So, all right, we'll take a pic. So this here is Paul Holes. So, like I said, he was behind the team that helped solve the Golden State Killer.
Of this story, we do want to welcome Paul Holes to the HLN family tonight. He's our newest HLN host and analyst. Many of you know him from his involvement and contribution.
Can you guys hear that? Okay, can you put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear this? Okay. So we're all good.
State Killer case. I'd also like to welcome Mary Ellen O'Toole, Joey Jackson, Casey Jordan, and Joseph Scott Morgan to the program.
Okay, up a little bit more.
But first, I want to get straight to the breaking news. Authorities have been tight-lipped about the evidence on Libby's phone.
Okay.
But tonight, we can report how much video Libby recorded. Investigative producer Barbara Macdonald is on the ground there in Delphi. Barbara, you have obtained a probable cause affidavit related to a 2017 search warrant. What have you learned?
That's right, Susan. This document is more than 10 pages long, and it outlines a lot of information that the FBI knew back in 2017 about the murders. And in the document that we exclusively obtained, we learned that the video evidence that police have released 2 still images of, and have also released a 1.5 second clip of the man walking on the bridge.
Okay, so I turned it up as far as I could, so hopefully that'll work, because this is as loud as I can get it, guys, so hopefully that's good.
33 seconds long. One thing investigators will not comment on is whether there are other videos on Libby's phone that show that man or the encounter.
I want to bring in the rest of the panel, and I do want to note HLN has repeatedly invited state and local officials to come on this program. They have either declined our invitation or have not responded to our request. So, Mary Ellen, we are now able to report this detail about the video. Is this pertinent information, and should more evidence be released in 5 years?
Oh, okay. Emmy, I am so sorry. Okay. I apologize. So she's saying CC, please. Thank you. That's closed captions. I am so sorry, Emmy. Right now, I'm on a new internet, and I couldn't go on the... Right now, I'm on... my stream is not high enough to allow the closed captions right now. And this video that I recorded, the website doesn't have closed captions. So I guess the only way would be after this video uploads, I can put captions on it. But right now as it plays, I cannot do closed captions. I am so sorry. Next time I go live, I will make sure I've got closed captions on. Sometimes when you do closed captions, it hurts the stream and it'll cause it to buffer. So I really apologize.
After Abby and Libby were brutally murdered.
Yes, it is very pertinent information. And with a case that's gone on this long, it's really critical that more information be put out there to the public, especially since this case is followed so closely in the media. People really want to help. People want to call in with information. They want to see this case solved. And what's critically important is when you have an offender like this, based on the crime scene behavior, it's important that it get resolved, because you have no control over whether or not they could do this kind of crime again. So the more information that's out there, the better.
Joey, once someone is identified, and the family believes this, as do authorities, this video is crucial to the case. How tough is this video to overcome once someone is in custody?
Yeah, Susan, good to be with you on the panel. You know, the investigators have really worked diligently to bring someone to justice in this case. But like with anything else, you don't want to be overly reliant upon any one piece of information. Obviously, this video is very important. I think it'll be relied upon. However, you want to caution, right, with respect to how a person might look now.
I agree, Andy.
Later.
Yeah.
Were there any changes, or are there any changes in body structure? Did they do anything, with regard to their demeanor or their walking or comportment? And so this, like anything else, will be critical in the investigation. I just hope, like everyone here, that it gets solved. Last point. You have to be careful with bringing out too much information to the public. Obviously, all of us want to know, no one more than the family, as to what has occurred. But when you finally identify who did it, you don't want the defense to say, hey, you could have learned it from a newspaper. You could have learned it from Susan Hendricks. You could have learned it in any other area. So you have to keep it confined. It's a delicate balance, of course.
And Barbara, let's get back to you in Delphi. The second headline that you obtained from court documents from early in the investigation, police have asked us to keep playing the voice of the killer, the 4 words heard in this recording. It is chilling to hear, and we have exclusively learned now where that command, guys down the hill, is heard on Libby's phone. Barbara.
That's right. This 43-second video that we're talking about, that the document talks about, it says that the guys and down the hill were spoken at the very end of that video. And you may recall that Sheriff Tobe Lesenby of Carroll County told us last year that he didn't believe there was any additional words spoken by the suspect on this particular video. Again, this is the 43-second video. Investigators are not commenting if there are other videos that are pertinent to this investigation.
And Paul, this really feels like a gift to prosecutors, having his voice, his image on the phone, and the significance of this being recorded towards the end of the video. What does that say to you? Also, the amount of evidence that's available.
Well, this is hugely significant because you've got this 43 seconds that's starting with the image of the man on the railroad trestle, and it's that man's voice 43 seconds later that is commanding the girls, the victims, down the hill. This video is, in essence, showing their abduction and showing that that man at the beginning of the video is their abductor. So from my perspective, he minimally is involved in their homicide in some capacity. That helps clarify, that initial image of the man walking on the railroad tracks. We need to be looking for him. Now, is he responsible for the homicide? I believe likely, unless there's crime scene evidence to suggest there's multiple offenders involved in the violence.
Mm-hmm. Good point there, Mary Ellen. Want to get to you now. What about the tone of what we're hearing?
Yes, Breeze. So I'm basically playing it for you, but there is, I don't have the link. So look at my last live show, Breeze, and I have it pinned at the top of the comments, the link that'll take you to the free HLN streaming service.
I've listened to it countless times. I know you have too. Does it sound friendly to you or commanding? What do you read from his voice?
The voice is important to analyze, and to me, as a behavioral analyst, what it says is that this person took charge right away. And what I find most interesting is there is a lack of emotion in the voice. So you don't hear, he's not swearing, he's not shouting, he's not out of control. He's definitely in control of that circumstance at that point. And when you analyze a case, you look to see how is the offender able to control the victims. Usually you expect them to have a weapon, and he could have had a weapon there. But some offenders can control by their voice, especially if the victims are very vulnerable. And in this case, he took charge. There was no emotion. And the girls were probably very affected by the sound of his voice.
Just 13 and 14 years old at the time. Joseph Scott Morgan, you've met the family. When you hear that voice and consider what they went through, certainly is difficult to digest.
Okay, so I'm not going to play the entire thing. I'm going to skip forward to the good stuff because, like I said, I don't feel comfortable taking other people's stuff and playing it, So I'm going to skip just a little bit, just so. And they really don't say. There's not a lot of information in this part anyway. They're just kind of discussing, what, just kind of. Let's get to.
Investigators told him he's.
So then there's the dad talking. And we got commercial. And okay.
Tonight. First, Libby's video of the bridge guy is.
Yeah. So apparently when I went over the leaker text 2 days ago, I believe it is 2 days ago, I went over the leaker text. Apparently, he said that in this 40-second video that it sounds like he's asserting himself as some kind of security person or authority, and is telling him that you guys are trespassing. And then the girls say, oh, well, we'll never come back. And then that's when he says, oh, down the hill, So that's another kind of theory that's been out there. Oops, did I play it?
2:13
okay, there we go.
p.m. And to give a little context,
what's up, Debbie Jean? Welcome.
The girls were dropped off at the trails that day at about 1:30, and many people are familiar with the two Snapchat images that Libby posted from the bridge. One shows Abby walking on the bridge just over the creek. The other is a black and white image facing the other direction that shows the portion of the bridge that's covered by the tree canopy. And those images are believed to have been uploaded at 2:07. So with a 2:13 timestamp of this encounter, that's just 6 minutes later. Susan?
And Paul, we now know what Barbara just said about the timeline. This could be significant in a possible person of interest, the timeline here.
Well, there's multiple ways that it could be significant. Number one, it tells me, the victims were there for a period of time. Was the offender watching them and waiting?
Breeze, in not this live video, but the last live show that I did, it says, I forget the title of it. Oh, could DNA help be solved? Could DNA solve the Delphi murders? I believe that's the title of the video. There should be a pinned comment that has the link. It's a big link. Right now I don't have it, or I would send it to you, Breeze. I don't know. Maybe I can find it after we watch this. If you don't find it,
for the right moment to approach them, but it also is putting him at that location at a specific time. So my question to the investigation is going to be: did they get cell tower dumps? Maybe he had a cell phone that is pinging off a cell tower. This is not a very populated area, so I think they would have a limited number of phone numbers that they would have to sort through to see who is at this location, who's pinging off the same cell towers that the girl's phone is pinging off of.
Mm-hmm. Because as we know, Libby did have her cell phone that day. Mary Ellen, this happened in the middle of the day.
Frank,
what does that tell you?
Frank, I added you as a moderator. Do you want to put that link in for?
About the person on the bridge, the suspect.
What that says to me is that this offender took a lot of risk. He took risk because in an outdoor scene, you can't control who might see you, who might recognize you, get a description, call the police, interrupt the crime. So it's very high risk behavior to commit a crime, number one, during the day, and number two, in an outdoor crime scene. But number two, in an outdoor scene, it's very difficult to collect and clean up all the forensic evidence that you've left behind, especially if this crime went into the evening hours. You might have left something there that you didn't expect that you left, leaving evidence that would point directly to you. So it's very high risk to do that. But this tells me that this is an offender who can live with a lot of risk behavior. We look at offenders in terms of, can you live with risk, or is that risk and part of the crime scene actually makes it more exciting to engage in? And I think the latter is true. I think this is someone who likes risk, and the risky behavior at the crime scene interprets into their everyday life. This is somebody that takes risk and is comfortable with that risk.
Yeah, this was a day off from school, a makeup snow day. Casey, let's go back to the heart of...
Which is interesting. So yeah, could he maybe have been part of a school or something? Because he, like I said, this was a day off. This was a makeup day, a snow day. Could he have been involved in schools in some manner? A teacher, a janitor, anything that knew that the school was going to be out that day. It's an interesting theory. Or even just a parent. Even just a parent, that knows, these, our kids, we've seen it, I went over a BTK killer, he had a family, he had a daughter, and, he was able to do his thing and come back and blend in as a normal family man. So
solving this case, knowing this exact time, 2:13 in the afternoon. Does this move the needle, and what does it tell you?
Well, I agree completely with Mary Ellen. This is a person who, at some level, is comfortable with risk. But the most glaring fact is that this is a person, a man, based on this video, who is not at work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Did somebody call out sick? Does somebody work shift work, maybe midnight to 8 a.m.? Does anybody remember somebody who was acting peculiar in the evening of that particular day? Mary Ellen is right. Paul is right. This is happening in broad daylight. This might be the very first time, let's assume it was, that somebody took this high-risk behavior, acted on a fantasy that had been cultivating probably for years, and engaged in the stalk, which is, of course, the step that happens before an abduction.
I agree with what you're saying, Kelly, for sure. They're saying that the Anthony shots is because what had Libby's friend was communicating with the Anthony shots account. Libby's friend, and they'd had like some big conversations that lasted days, and it got quite graphic, and then Libby's friend had introduced Libby to this account, this Anthony Shots account. Sorry, I dropped my notepad. And then she started interacting with this, Libby herself was interacting with this Anthony Shots account. So now Keegan says, no, I did not talk to the girls. So could it be somebody that hacked into this account that had, could he have been, because he was trading, images back and forth. So could they have been trading information on accounts maybe? So.
And a kill. So think about a person who is available to do this crime in the middle of the day, but also somebody who engages in fantasy. Somebody who might be engaged in looking at pornography online, at thinking or talking about children in an inappropriate way. And then let's narrow down the suspect pool so we can get closer to finding out who did it.
That's the goal still to come after 5 years.
Let me go back up to it. Oh, shoot. I should have been. Hey, there it is. Let's see. Here it is. I guess I should have pinned it. I apologize, guys. Let me pin this. Okay, so the message that's pinned at the top is a link to the HLN online. That's free. You click on it. The new special, which we're watching right now, because I just recorded it, so we're watching it right now. And I will go through most of it, but I don't want to go over everything because then I'm just kind of stealing their content. So, but yeah, so that comment that's pinned at the top for those who've been kind of talking about it.
Years, tens of thousands of tips, thousands of hours searching for clues. Tonight.
Okay, so I'm going to skip forward here because it's commercial. I was checking my live. Okay, so they're going to get to the interview, which is interesting.
That's right, Susan. I spoke with Kegan Kline back in December, shortly after his name became publicly associated with this case. And this is, as you mentioned, believed to be his only on-camera interview. I know that the task force investigating Abby and Libby's murders have viewed the entire 25-minute interview, and from what I understand, they found that interview helpful. Here's a little bit of what he had to say to me.
I feel like I'm being harassed completely.
Did you have anything to do with the murders of Abby or Libby?
Not at all, and I gave up my DNA, a hair follicle test. I've done everything they wanted me to.
In December, Delphi investigators announced that catfish account Anthony Shots was active on Instagram and Snapchat in 2016 and 2017, and they asked for anyone who interacted with that profile to come forward. But more than a year ago, then 26-year-old Kegan Kline admitted to investigators that he was behind the fake profile and that he used it to ask young girls for nude pictures and videos. Tell me about Anthony Shots. Why did you create that profile?
I don't really know. I was just Well, I don't know why I did it, really.
And were you ever trying to meet these girls in real life that you were talking to?
No, never.
Just 11 days after the murders of
Thank you
Abigail
guys,
Williams,
Carrie.
task force investigators served a search warrant on the home that Kegan shared with his dad. At the time, the FBI told the Lafayette Journal and Courier they found nothing to...
So you guys think he kind of sounds like him? So the only thing is, that's the voice, so you guys are convinced on that. It does sound similar. Only problem, though, is Keegan is a little, a bigger guy. And he don't, they said at one point he'd kind of, had lost some weight, but from a few interviews with people that known him, that kind of grew up with him and knew him around that time, said that for the most part, he's kind of been the same size. And, I don't know, but, you never know. You never know. So, let me, before I continue, let me go over this. If it's not the bridge guy, he knows who it is. They were catfish to be put on the dark web. I feel like that, Kelly. I do. A little less after the interview, but I still think it's got to be connected somehow. There's definitely got to be a connection. Because they've been looking at this since day one, and they kind of left it to the side, and then 2 years later, they're like, oh, wait a minute, this actually could have been something, and then now they're following up, and this is kind of where it's led. So I agree, Kelly. Thank you so much for the $5. That's awesome. Okay, let's finish this.
Indicate a connection to the Delphi case. Kegan's electronics were confiscated then, but he wasn't arrested until 3 years later. He's
Okay,
now facing
I will.
30 counts of child pornography.
I think they asked him one more question. If not, I'll go back on his
in Miami
voice.
County, Indiana, unrelated to the Delphi murders. He says, though, that Indiana State Police told him Anthony Schatz had been communicating with Libby before her murder.
So why do you think investigators are putting so much focus on you right now?
I have not a clue. I think it's because they said I was the last person to talk to her, is what they've told me.
And then she shows up at the bridge and they're abducted and later found dead.
Right.
And that was not you?
No, 100% not.
Keegan says he has no memory or knowledge of communicating with Libby, and investigators haven't confirmed if what he...
It would really be interesting to hear his dad's voice, because so what's interesting is I sound a lot like my dad. So, as a matter of fact, it's funny because at a certain age, when I was younger, I didn't, when I was, preteen and everything. But I think when I hit like 19 into my 20s, my voice fully developed because I've always kind of had a soft voice. But all of a sudden, I just remember when I talked to family members who obviously had talked to my dad, when I'd call them, usually when I'd call them, so they didn't know who was calling. This was kind of early cell phone days, so there wasn't always caller ID. But I would start to talk, and they would say my dad's name. They're like, so-and-so? I'm like, no, it's a son. So, it would be interesting to hear... so his dad's name is Tony Klein. So it'd be interesting to hear his voice. Tony Klein's. I just got a donation. Let me go back real quick. Oh. Michelle at Dragonlock Works. Thank you so much for the $4.99. That's awesome. Thank you so much. You are amazing. So Carrie says it's Keegan or his dad. Yeah, it could be. It could be. All right. Let's crack on here.
True.
Do you think you're going to be charged with anything related to Abby and Libby's murder?
No, I don't.
So the state police haven't threatened that?
No.
And Susan, we do want to reiterate once again that at this point, he has not been charged with anything related to the murders of Abby or Libby.
Barbara, thank you. Still to come. Laser focused on...
Biggie says he needs a beating anyway. Yeah, I could see that. You could see those guys that are coming in from behind him, but I don't know. He's probably in the same block as all the other weirdos. So, Big money for possibly Kelly. Yeah. Yeah, we'll play his voice one more. You guys seem to like his voice. You guys want me to play his voice again? You guys seem to be kind of... Let's play his voice again here. You want me to play the audio? Oh, I don't know if I got the good audio or not. I'll play him and then I'll see if I got the audio.
I think it's because they said I was the last person to talk to her, is what they've told me.
And then she shows up at the bridge and they're abducted and later found dead.
Right.
And that was not you.
No, 100% not.
Keegan says he has no memory or knowledge of communicating with Libby, and investigators haven't confirmed what he says is true. Do you think you're going to be charged with anything related to Abby and Libby's murder?
No, I don't.
So that's tough. Like, I'm inclined. I know he's a POS, but I don't know. It's hard to say because it's such a short interview that they show. I really wish they would have showed the 25 minutes because I really like to gauge, like, is he just a pathological liar or is he telling some truth, you know? So, Alma, he's confident. Yeah, it definitely comes off as confident for sure. I agree. Danny, that's him, she says. She's convinced. Yeah, it's creepy. Like I said, I'd like to hear the voice of his dad because, like I said, my voice sounds just like my dad. Everybody, you know.
So the state police haven't threatened that?
No.
And Susan, we do want to reiterate once again that at this point, he has not been charged with anything related to the murders of Abby or Libby.
Barbara, thank you. Still to come. Laser focus on DNA found at the scene. New questions.
So this is what excites me. So we'll play the DNA part of it here. Like I said, I'm not going to play everything just because, you know, I don't like to steal people's content. So I'm getting a lot of notifications. You guys are amazing. I've gotten Spin Cat. Let's see here. We got Fluffy, it's subscribed. We got his red subscribed. And Spin X Cat. Hopefully I said that right. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the mob crew.
To Paul Holes and Joseph Scott Morgan. Plus, the crucial first moments right after the girls go missing. And the one thing that we are closely examining tonight. We're back in a moment.
Okay, so I'm going to skip forward here, guys. This commercial. Okay, so
to when they are now putting out some information about who they think the offender might be, and it sounded like something straight out of an FBI profiler's report. So it almost seemed like this was a designed release. They were targeting somebody. They may have had somebody under surveillance or even on a wire, and they were wanting to see if this press conference was going to cause that person to do something suspicious afterwards. But to have both sketches and not have clarity as to why there's the two sketches, I think is confusing the public. And as this panel we've talked about, it's the public right now that really is going to be the important source of information and trying to identify who this guy is. So we need to know what's going on with these two sketches to help guide us on how to focus, guide the public on how to focus their attention.
Initially saying we're changing direction, Mary Ellen then saying it's a combination of both. If so, Mary Ellen, why weren't the sketches combined?
Well, that's such a good question, because if they're the same person, just different versions of the same person, then it would make sense to have a forensic artist come in and combine the two, or at this point in time, even do an age enhancement of it. But I totally agree with Paul.
yeah, this is interesting right here. Kelly, thank you so much for the $1.99. That's awesome. Thank you so much. You guys are so awesome. This is interesting. So I think I paused it just right. So if you guys notice, this is actually a combination right here. I think I paused it because I was trying to get it just right. This is a combination of the two sketches if you look. So you can kind of see the other one starting to fade in with the hat. So let me go down here. Thank you so much. Oh, you guys are crazy today. Thank you so much, Kelly. Catch up here. So that was the thing. So this is something that I've kind of never really talked about on my show. That I don't think so. So about the two sketches, because I've kind of gone over different theories. So there's another theory that these two sketches are really a combination of the same guy. And the reason that is it's possible that there's two different witnesses that are two different age groups. So let's say you got a younger person that, is trying to recall a suspect that's older. They might describe him in a different way. Whereas someone that's older that sees someone younger is going to describe someone younger and have a harder time, with the age group, if that makes sense. And I've heard that a lot lately, and I've heard it before too. But they don't really talk about the age thing, but they do talk about the combination of the two sketches. I think it's really interesting. But it does make sense how, like a younger person, it'll be kind of harder for them to like see an older person and know the age group, Where if someone was older and saw that, we'd kind of recognize, better gauge the age range, and vice versa, as like an older person who sees a younger person might have a little bit trouble, gauging the age range. That makes sense. So there's kind of a theory that this is kind of really a combination of the two. And so, like I said, I paused it right here, which is almost just perfect because they're fading in the two sketches. And even one of the mothers, I'm not sure which mother, I think it was Abby's mother, she said like somebody on YouTube like a couple years ago when the second sketch came out said that she had seen the combination of the two and said, oh my gosh, that clicks. It's really the same guy. It's just, one's got facial hair and one doesn't. And so, like I said, so I kind of paused it right here. And as you see, it's going to fade into the older sketch guy. And it does. It really is kind of the same sketch. The eyes for sure are really more or less the same. I think this nose is a little different, but...
It's so confusing when you have two very distinct composites, because what you're doing when you put out a composite is you're asking not everybody in the community. All you need is one person to look at that composite.
So as you can see, it's starting to fade in the two sketches. It's interesting because you can see the hat starting to fade in right here, and really the face don't change really.
And say, I know who that person is, but now it's shrouded in all this confusion.
Makes me want to. I'm going to take a screenshot of that and see if I can kind of work and darken it out and not play with it too much. But it'd be interesting to have that combination like just right, to kind of put out there just to show people.
And so this composite is not useful. And in a case like this, you want to put out things that are very useful so the public will respond.
Let's now talk about the crime scene and the contamination of it. When the girls were reported missing, it seemed like everyone in Delphi joined in on the search. Here is what Kim Riley, then with the Indiana State Police, had to say about it.
You had 400 or 500 people that started looking for these girls the night before. So we had to deal with that. A lot of tracks, cigarette butts, believe it or not, this kind of just...
Yeah, I've heard that, Kelly, about the second sketch being the model. I'm on the fence about that. I'll be honest with you, because I even went over a live saying, "Oh my gosh, I think it is the sketch of the model." But now I've came back after watching this and watching some old stuff. I'm on the fence right now, to be honest with you, Kelly. I kind of think it's a combination of the two now again.
Disgusting, but you had spit. People would urinate because they don't have time to go back, so they go hide in the woods to go to the bathroom, that kind of stuff.
Joseph Scott Morgan, it was officially called off by authorities because it was just too dangerous, too dark. But the town stayed down there. In terms of collecting DNA evidence from a scene, what do you think after hearing that from Kim Riley, from the sergeant at the time?
Well, it can certainly complicate matters because, now you're commingling all of these other factors in there. Everybody that shows up at the scene. And keep in mind, Susan, this was a search at that point in time, where you're looking for these two poor children at that point.
I would, Gretchen. I'll have to after this. You have to wait, Gretchen.
They
but
have
I will.
no idea. But you still have to consider this from an investigative standpoint. They're saying that they've said this over and over again, that they have some type of DNA sample. So, my concern is that there might be some kind of cross-contamination that may have been compromised. As we do know, DNA is very, very fragile, depending upon the form that it comes in, whether it is something that is, say, a DNA-rich sample where we're talking about blood or maybe semen and this sort of thing, or where we're talking about something that's even more fragile, like a touch DNA sample, which is only a partial strand. A strong wind can blow it away. So that's certainly something to keep in mind.
Yeah, considering everyone down there looking for the girls. Casey, in investigating in those crucial first hours as an attorney, criminologist, what sticks out to you here?
I think that what worries me the most is that in those hours following the report of the girls missing, when everybody was trampling through the woods, possibly contaminating the crime scene, they did not bring dogs. They did not put out an APB. They did not put out an Amber Alert.
Yeah, so that's something that they kind of regret, is not bringing out the dogs, because they'd found the bodies. The dogs were on their way, and they'd found the bodies, and so he'd called them up, said, no, we don't need you anymore. And now he kind of regrets that, because they could have used the dogs, especially if they had some kind of item of the killer. They could have known exactly where, how he exited the scene, and could have led them to look in different avenues. So unfortunately, he made that mistake. Carter talks about that.
And there was incredibly precious moments wasted where they really could have been doing things that have been suggested.
What's up, Samara?
Towers, finding out everybody who'd been in that particular area, a remote area. And you really have to wonder if this case was simply bungled from the beginning, mostly due to inexperience. I mean, nobody really would intentionally mess up a case like this. But here we are, Susan, 5 years later. It's been 3 years since those two composite sketches, which really don't look anything alike, 35,000 tips, as Barbara has pointed out, and we don't feel any closer to having a suspect. And you just...
Okay, so while I have so many of you in here real quick, let me just kind of go over. So I'm Chris. I cover cold cases. I do Paranormal Tuesdays. I do a little bit of everything. I show, in all my videos, kind of get back to the community and help everybody out. I show missing person posters in all my videos. I go over new active missing person cases. I do take requests. You can email me, put it in the comments. I don't investigate anything, but, as far as current missing people, but I will put up the missing person poster to help anybody out. So while I've got so many because you guys are amazing tuning in, so thank you so much. Let me just quickly go over her, this girl real quick, just while everybody's in here, because this is what's most important. So this is Aaliyah Ransom. She's 11 years old. She just went missing literally 24 hours ago. And she went from near her home in Trammell Road in Morrow. And this is in Clayton County, Georgia. So if any of you from Georgia or around that area, just please take a close look. I've got a little bit close-up picture of her. This is Aaliyah Ransom. She is 11 years old. So, like I said, I try to do as much as I can to give back to as much as I can for this. I try to do as much as I can on this platform. So thank you guys. I'm getting notifications just going off like crazy. You guys are amazing. Most of these are Brenda. Thank you subscribing. Jimmy, Paul. Thank you so much. Let's see, Melissa and Paul. Thank you guys so much. Damon. You guys are all amazing. Thank you so much. So we are just finishing going through Let me pull this back up. We were just kind of going through the last little bit of the HLN special that just came out. I have it pinned at the top. It's the link to the HLN. It should be playing now. I think the special plays at 10 p.m. Eastern time, so it should be playing now. So we are just finishing that up. So.
Just have to wonder, would it be useful at this point for them to release
What's up, Jody?
more of that video? 43 seconds, and we only have a small fraction of it, hoping to get a resurgence of interest in this case, because if DNA doesn't solve it, you're going to need the public to really get us closer to the suspect.
Yeah, and the tips keep coming in. And early in the investigation, we were told there was, in fact, DNA, but officials would not say whose and how much. Bringing back Paul now, even with a little amount of DNA, Paul, why hasn't this been solved, considering what's available these days, including genealogy?
Well, there's so many factors. You know, we're talking about the search and the number of people that are in and around this crime scene.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at the photo real quick because she's sending it to me. So let's take a look at this here. Oh, yeah, these ones. Okay, yeah. Here's Tim. Open link, open image and tab. That's what I wanted to do. There we go. Yeah, so I can't zoom in on it. So yeah, so there's the color ones. Yeah. I don't know. I know there's some channels that get heat for showing the, like when they fill them in and show them dancing around. I don't know, but it's interesting. Thank you, Gretchen, for sharing that.
I know when I'm going to be evaluating the DNA evidence, I'm going to be focusing in on the girls, their bodies, their clothing, whatever other objects the offender may have touched or used right there where the crime was actually occurred, not in the periphery. If they have a DNA sample, you know, there's a possibility due to violence that when the girls may have been bleeding, that their own blood could have saturated their clothes. And
so this is very interesting. I'm sorry to pause it, but this is very interesting because they took a sample of Keegan's hair. So what he's talking about could be something that they do have a partial hair from this killer.
Even though the offender may have touched their clothes and left contact DNA, his DNA is so small compared to the girls' DNA from their blood that it's not amenable to the traditional forensic DNA testing that could search the CODIS database, the FBI's DNA database. Same thing with genealogy. You can't use a mixed sample, or at least a sample in which the victim's type is very dominant in the sample. So if they're saying that they have a DNA sample, kind of tells me they either have a mixture or it's a very small amount. And then I wonder, well, what have they pursued? And I think a little bit of insight in Barbara's interview with Kegan Kline is he said, well, they collected hair from him. Well, in this day and age, to get a DNA sample from a suspect, it's an oral swab. If they're collecting a head hair standard or a pubic hair standard, that tells me they may have some hair evidence at the scene. And the question with hair is it from the offender? And chances are, if they haven't produced a DNA profile to search the database, then they're just dealing with a hair that doesn't have a root. But in this day and age, there is technology that can actually get a genealogy profile from just the hair strand itself. So that's where I'm wondering, what all have they pursued? What do they have? What have they pursued? There may be DNA evidence in this case that could actually identify the offender if the right people were to be consulted.
So what he just said there is huge. So if you don't know who this guy in the middle is, this guy is Paul Holes. He got together, he's a retired detective, and when he came on the force, he was he joined the Contra County, I forget the county, but anyway, it's in LA, and they were following the East Area Monster, as I call him, because I can't say the other word. And who, you know, eventually turned out to be the Golden State Killer. And so after he retired, he had met up and he started looking into some DNA and stuff and started pursuing that avenue. And then he got together with this gal named, I forget her name already. I think Barbara something. Those two got together and along with some other people. But these two people got together and they basically were, through DNA, helped find out who Golden State Killer was, who would eventually turn out to be Joseph DeAngelo. So that's huge. And so now what he's kind of talking here is if they do have some kind of DNA, but it's, you know, in such a minute, or, you know, who knows what kind of form they have of it, hair, blood, whatever, that they may have to go down certain avenues to be able to work back from a you know, like a family tree or something, how they kind of did with the Golden State Killer case. So it'd be great if that's what they have, and that's just, you know, another avenue that they could take to find the killer. So I think that's very interesting.
Interesting. That could be telling. And on that same topic, Joseph Scott Morgan, it's been 5 years, as you know. Technology changes, as Paul spoke to. If you were on the case, what new tactics could you use to move this forward?
You know, I think there's a couple of considerations. You know, to Paul's point, one of the things that came to mind for me is that if the sample is robust and they suspect that it might be the offender, I'm wondering why, say, for instance, a phenotype profile hasn't been developed, you know, that kind of ballparks, you know, hair color, racial components, all of these sorts of things, and that has been put into the mix. We haven't seen that to this point. All we have are these sketches that, you know, are kind of hit or miss at best. And I think probably for me, there is obviously some level of violence here. We're hearing about an edged weapon. For me, from a profile standpoint, I'm thinking that this is a very violent person. It's a person that is purposed and an individual that came prepared to do great harm. So I think that digging into the past of offenders out there, particularly individuals that might be sexual predators that have a proclivity for violence in the mix, I think that that's going to be key. I'm hoping that the police have dug into this relative to that. And one more point. Going back 5 years, Susan, I think this is critical. People knew that these kids would be out of school that day. That's why I've always held that I felt as though that somebody that had that knowledge was aware that this was a person, this was not necessarily an opportunistic event where they just happened to meet. It's something where someone was lying in wait, and they knew that these kids were out of school. And I think that
Yeah, we'd hate to lose you, Alma. You know, sometimes the mods are just trying to be respectful, and, you know, they're trying to protect me, and, you know, she didn't mean not to be offensive, so I apologize, Alma.
plays a big part in this as well.
You know, you may be right. Another big question we are asking, why were the search dogs, the bloodhound, canines, sent home early? They were coming in from a different state.
Like I said, I don't want to steal everything from this this HLN special here. So pretty much they just kind of go back and forth talking about, you know, could they release more information without, you know, hurting the case. And so I'm going to play this last little bit here for you guys. So this is the last little bit here, probably last 5 minutes. So
They do say it's a very unique case, and they're working very hard to solve it.
Yeah, I did speak to Tobe Lesenby, who said no matter what, do not call it cold. Paul, you have seen the video. You heard the voice. It's amazing.
Okay, I'm sorry, Alma. I didn't know that. It happens. You know, we get a lot of people in here. I'll be honest, my channel's not used to this much exposure. So, you know, my mods aren't used to having all the chat go crazy. So I think she was just trying to be, you know, protecting me and didn't mean anything by it. So I'm sorry she put you in timeout. Yeah, try not to do that, Karen.
People say to me, how can this be happening? Do you think they'll release more information?
Well, I think.
Oh, and sometimes they may try to just block the comment, just your comment, and they might have put you in timeout. I've done that to people. So if that happened, Karen, just, it happens. Sometimes because of the comments kind of, so it happens.
When the case first happens, investigators have a tendency to err on the side of caution and hold back as much information that they think they should, with the hope that an arrest is going to be effected soon, and now everything can be used towards the prosecution. Now, after 5 years, the scales start to tip, and there needs to be a reassessment of the case details, what has been held back from the public, to see what can be fed to the public that might trigger somebody's memory, might inform the public, where they should be focusing their attention. Because as we've talked about, unless they have that identifying DNA evidence, or they get a search out of a database or a genealogy match, they're going to have to rely on the public in order to get suspect names and then be able to prove a case against that person. So we are at a point 5 years later to where I believe the investigators need to convene and determine what else they can put out to the public, if nothing else, just to spur attention on the case some more.
So what do you guys think? I think we could probably all agree that it's been 5 years. We know now, they've basically confirmed that there's more recording, 43 seconds. They, clearly there's got to be at least a little bit more footage that he is in, because we don't see him go out of view, clearly in the frames that we see. So clearly there's at least few more frames of him in the camera. Could there be something that we spot? Could there be something on his jacket? Could there be, I don't know, a certain logo that somebody in the, Delphi area recognizes? Bowling team, What about his shoes? Is there something unique to his shoes that, not in these frames, but in the next frames, catch somebody's eye, that there's some kind of logo or insignia, whatever, that maybe the detectives don't realize that, they just are not looking at it that way. I'm sure they're trying to look at it, but they just don't recognize that there is something there, don't know it, but yet there's somebody in the public that'll jog their memory. And, it's better sooner than later because, we're not getting any younger, and neither is Bridge Guy, and he's going to be changing. And so, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. I really feel like, what else? There's clearly a little bit more of him in this, in the camera for sure. And so, to talk about the walk, because some people feel like he's got a limp. I've even seen he's got one leg. So let me just point this out to you guys, just to let you know, this bridge has got gaps. They say even some railroad ties are missing. So you're looking at somebody that's walking, it is not going to be walking normal, and apparently from what they say is he's actually starting to come towards them, so he's actually changing his direction along with traversing this crazy gaps. I'm sorry, I gotta go back here. Oh, thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you for your passion and concern for these girls. Oh, thank you so much, Sherry. That's amazing. I love what I do to help out, anything I can do to help out, and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. So really, this is everybody's channel, and I just kind of in front of the camera. So let's see. Alma says, oh, I just lost your comment, Alma. Sorry. Remember, law enforcement is allowed to lie to the public. They need to sometimes deceive to they don't want to play their cards. So let me get back down, catch back up. So, but just to finish what I was talking about. So, I don't know. I know there's a top-down. Maybe I can find a top-down view of that bridge. So here's him walking. So kind of remember, he's going to start to actually come in the middle. You can almost see how his direction kind of changes. if you see in that last few frames, right there, he starts to kind of turn a little bit. It's almost like he's going to change directions a little bit, kind of come down the middle, because he's kind of more towards the right, and now he's going to be kind of coming down the middle. But the theory is, so some people think this is a pouch, a fanny pack. Some others think that it's just, so he's got a hoodie and then a jacket over the hoodie, and then that's kind of the hoodie just kind of hanging out, and he's got the gun in that pocket. But from what the leaks say, it's more than likely he had a gun, especially to be able to control two girls. So it's a loop because it was hard to Photoshop. Yeah. Hooded sweatshirt, Brady says. Lucy says, I thought he was drunk for a sec. Yeah, let me see if I can find... let me see if there's a top-down view of this Monon Bridge. Top-down view of Monon. Oh, I can spell it right. A top-down view of it. It's a little too far away. Here's kind of a decent picture to kind of give you an idea. So as you can see in this picture, let me, I'll get it big here. So as you can see, this entire railroad tie is completely missing. And then as you can see, these are like 4-inch gaps, at least. Maybe anywhere from 2 to 6-inch gaps. And then you got one that's completely missing. I'm assuming these railroad ties are, I forget how big railroad ties are, but yeah. So you got to remember that as I'm walking on a sidewalk, he is definitely trying to. That's why he's got his head down. But yeah, why didn't they run? They recognized him. So this is the thing so honestly, what the girls were intending to do was go across the bridge, and then once it got to the end, they were just going to turn back. Because really, they were just going to get picked back up on this side of the creek. Because they got dropped off on that side of the bridge. So they were just going to walk across it, turn around, and come back. But when they got to the end, all of a sudden, here comes this guy, and they were probably just hoping he was just going to walk along and pass them. And then, sadly, that was not the case. So, I got to take a drink. Sorry, my throat's a little dry. Yeah, apparently, KJ, from what some of the leaker texts say, that he kind of acted like he was authority and said that they were trespassing. I've heard two different versions, so it's hard to say. Like I said, so it's all speculation. But in one theory or speculation is that he asserted himself as some kind of authoritative figure, told them that they were trespassing, and held a gun to them. And then the girls said, we won't come back here. And then, sadly, he brought them down the hill. And then it's assumed. So, this is the pathway that they went. Oh, I got something. Thank you so much, Debbie Jean. You're the best, and so appreciate your devotion, Chris. Thank you so much. Thank you, Debbie. You are amazing. Thank you so much, guys. It's so awesome. This channel has just been blowing up the last few weeks. Actually, last week, really. It's been amazing. Honestly, I've been having anxiety attacks, to be honest with you guys. I didn't think my channel would go this big, so and I couldn't do it without you guys. And like I said, I try to get back to you guys. I tried to read your comments. I tried to respond to all of you as much as I can to show that everybody is equal. Just because you can't donate doesn't make anybody less important. Everybody's in different financial situations. So do you think that there's multiple videos, including the 43-second clip? Do you think there are multiple videos, including... Interesting. That's a good question. I think there's... it's tough to say. Because a lot of the stuff that I've heard seems like it would be about 43 seconds. But they have mentioned that there could be another clip of something. That they even talked about it in the HLN Special in the beginning. They kind of hinted at it. So it's tough to say. I'm not sure. That's a good question. Lena says, "Oh, Chris, you do a great job. You deserve the success." Thank you, Lena. That's awesome. Dr. Drizzy, I just found this channel when I ran across the show. Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate having you. Pumpkin Queen. Oh, let's see. I wouldn't want to let my kid go out there. You could easily fall. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree, Pumpkin Queen. Oh, my gosh. I'm afraid of heights. If I saw that bridge, I ain't going across it. Oh, so TM Men's. So 4x4, 4x6, and 6x6. Led by Railroad Bridge. That thick. Thanks, TM. Awesome. Mystery. They should have been transparent from the beginning that he identified as a person of authority. Yeah. It's, it's, everything's, hindsight's 2020, I think maybe they were just so confident they had the video that they would be able to catch this guy, and so they didn't feel like they would need to release anything because they thought, we've got this guy, we've got him on camera, we got his voice, but it didn't work out that way. Just one video. Yeah. Yeah, right now we just know that there's the 43-second clip. So, but I've heard that it's, it's supposed to be 2 minutes long, but that's, of course, theories and speculations. So right now we know it's 43 seconds. So, and I think if it was longer, they would, I don't see why they would, but I don't know. Jumping Jack Flash, I can't get past the fact that they were bringing 2 dogs in for 2 states away. Indianapolis has dogs. It makes no sense. Ooh. Yeah, that is interesting. That is a very interesting question. God, maybe it's the availability that day. Maybe the dogs that were in that county that they normally use, maybe were being used in a different case, That's good. That's a good point, though. FLDS says there has to be more audio. Yeah, I mean we've heard that there's transcripts of the 43 seconds, I believe. So, but I think they could definitely, if he talks, if he says any more in there, why not release that? Especially if he says anything else. I think they should definitely release that. Yeah. Do you guys think that law enforcement... Here's a good question. I know it's going to do real quick. So I'm going to be making some new emojis. So if you guys want to become members, you guys can get access to those some perks and emojis. And what is the place the bridge is at called? So this is Monon Bridge, and that is in Deer Creek, Delphi. The county, I think of the county, but it's Delphi. It's the Monon High Bridge, Deer Creek County. Is that what it is? I think it's Deer Creek County. Oh, yeah, I was going to pull real quick. Back to that real quick. Who you think they will release new info with your anniversary? If I spelled that right. Just curious what you guys think real quick. I'm just going to pull you guys, see if you guys think. So the 5th year anniversary starts tomorrow. And, shortly after the 2 year? So 2019. So yeah, after the 2 year anniversary is when they released the more of the audio and the video, and then the second sketch. So curious what you guys think. If they will release any new info for the 5th year anniversary. Oh, really? Have you heard that Garrett Kirk stated there's a snuff film that was recorded? Oh. I can link if you're interested in taking a peek. I mean, that's interesting, but I don't yeah, it depends on what's on that. I have to be careful what's on that. Jake and Jimmers. So if that's got bad stuff on it, I can't promote that on my channel. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anybody. Jason, think Danielle Pearson is starting to worry now. No, Kurt smoking buddy. Kurt Spice smoking buddy. Huh. I Google on Google Earth the other day. Really hard to see the bridge on it. Yeah, Google Earth is not the best place to look at that one, for sure. Yeah, so that's the link to the HLN that Frank just posted. So let's see, I'm just curious how many. So 78 votes. We've got so far 30%, 37% say yes. They think they will release new info. 63% say no. So most of you don't think they will. 81 votes now, 64%. So about 30-60, 30-70, I guess. That's interesting. I really hope they do. I really, really hope they do. Especially if they're, if they're still not as close as they want us to think, But I do know that Douglas Carter, he did seem chipper in his last interview the other day on Good Morning America. I don't know if he's just bluffing, but, he had a quote saying, we almost basically saying that we know who you are, so sleep well. But, that could just be to try to scare somebody that they're looking into to see if they react differently. They use that tactic a lot to, they're looking at a certain suspect or person of interest, excuse me. They say stuff like that, and then while they're following them to see if they change their pattern anyway. So, Dr. Drissy also trolls and post messages, bait you into reading bad stuff. Yeah, that's exactly, Doctor. Yeah. So, all right, let's see where the poll's at. So almost 100 people have voted. So, it's 40-60. So it's gone up a little bit on the yes side. Interesting. So I'll end the poll there because it's about to... So it's gone up more. That's interesting. I thought it was going to be like 20-80, but there's about 40% of you guys think that they'll release something. I really hope so. That'd be awesome. So, but what's up, Joey? So anyway, I think that's about it. Like I said, guys, I try not to go too long because that way it's nice for people to that want to rewatch it. It's not 3 hours long, because I know a lot of channels, they go like 3 hours, 4 hours, and then they got like all these people on the panel. They post like they're going to talk about Summer Wells. They talk about Summer for like 2 seconds, and then the rest is I don't even know what. And it's just terrible because now it's kind of the new clickbait. So it's like the new clickbait for live shows is they post these hashtag summer, whatever case, and they'll talk about it for 10 minutes, and then the rest of the show is just whatever. And you can tell they don't put any production into the live show, and that's not me. I always want to make sure that I have something to talk about. And so I always spend at least a couple of hours at least preparing like a show. This one's just kind of going off what they talked about. But, you know, I took three pages of notes to make sure that I had stuff to go over for you guys. Because I don't want to just go live and waste your guys' time. Because that's, you know, that's not what we're about. And like I said, so... Jason says, do you think they know who did this? I don't know. I want to see what happens on this 50th year anniversary. I think that'll tell a lot. If they release more info, then I think they have. Then I don't think they're really close at all, to be honest with you. But if they don't release anything, they might be close. Might be a lot closer than any of us realize. And that would be amazing. So they are definitely going down. They've definitely looked into this Keegan thing a lot. So there's got to be something there for sure. Yeah. So I might do that. Discord. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. My channel has just been blowing up. It's just there's just one of me. So there's just so much to do, and it's just me. So. And there's just so much and the first thing that comes is content for you guys. So that's my main priority. But yeah, all that side stuff, Discord, Patreon, I will get to it. It just takes a little bit of time because I always want to make sure I've got content for you guys and stuff. So, but I'm just going to show her one more time. If you guys are in this area of Clayton County, Georgia, this is Aaliyah Ramson, 11 years old. She has been missing since yesterday, so. Yeah, I agree, Mystery. Yeah. So, I think that'll do it. No worries, Chris. We're here. Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it, Jimmy. Thank you guys. So many new faces. Yeah. If you guys can, leave a like button. Hit the like button. Leave a like. Or leave a like on your guys' way out. I think that'll do it for tonight. Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow. Yeah, I might do a Pictionary again sometime. For sure. When it slows down. So, thank you guys so much, everybody, for the donations. You guys are amazing. I can't even remember all the names because there were so many donations. So let me just go back. Thank you, Michelle, Debbie Jean, Sherry. I know there's a few more. Kelly. Kelly twice. And Linda. Thank you guys all so much. You guys are so amazing. So, all right. Well, that'll do it for tonight, guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you. I'm starting to lose my voice, so I better go. So, all right. Love you guys.